Dear ladies and gentlemen, time is the most valuable resource we have. Unlike money, once it is spent, it can never be earned back. Every tick of the clock is a reminder that life is moving forward, whether we use our time wisely or not. The tragedy is that many of us realize the worth of time only when it's too late. Wasting time does not always mean doing nothing. It can also mean spending hours on things that do not help us grow, improve, or achieve our goals. Scrolling endlessly on social media, procrastinating on important tasks, or staying stuck in unhealthy habits are all ways we silently let our lives slip away. Successful people are not necessarily the most talented or the luckiest. They are the ones who value and use their time effectively. They prioritize what matters, say no to distractions, and focus on actions that bring results. If you respect your time, others will respect it too. Plan your day, set goals, and make conscious choices. Remember, every second you waste is a second you could have invested in learning, building relationships, improving your skills, or chasing your dreams. Life is short and the clock is always ticking. Make sure that when you look back years from now, you don't regret the time you lost. Start valuing your time today because tomorrow is never guaranteed. Time is the most precious asset we possess, far more valuable than money, possessions, or even opportunities, because it is the one resource that, once lost, can never be regained in any form. Every moment that passes is gone forever, slipping silently into the past without the possibility of being retrieved, rewound, or relived. You can work hard to earn more money. You can rebuild a business. You can regain lost possessions, but you can never buy back a single second of time that has already passed. This is what makes time unique. It is constantly flowing, and no human being, no matter how powerful or wealthy, has the ability to stop or control it. Think about it, the richest person in the world and the poorest person on earth both receive the exact same amount of time each day, 24 hours. Time is, in that sense, the ultimate equalizer. It doesn't discriminate based on age, gender, race, or social status. The only difference between those who succeed and those who fail is how they choose to use that time. Some people use it as an investment, spending it on education, skill development, building meaningful relationships, and taking steps toward their dreams, while others squander it in ways that bring no progress or benefit. The real tragedy is that many people only understand the true worth of time when it's too late. Students who waste their school years often realize the value of time during exams, but by then it's impossible to go back and prepare. Adults who delay pursuing their dreams wake up years later to find their youthful energy gone, their chances reduced, and their regrets heavy. This is why wise people say that the clock is always running, and whether we are paying attention or not, it is silently taking pieces of our life away. Moreover, time has a direct connection to the quality of our life. Every decision we make about how to spend a minute or an hour shapes our future in ways we may not realize immediately. If we spend our time on growth-oriented activities, we move closer to success. If we waste it on meaningless distractions, we drift further from our goals. This is why successful people protect their time fiercely. They know it is not just a measure of life, but the very substance life is made of. In essence, time is not something we merely pass through. It is the fabric of our existence. To waste it is to waste our life itself, and to use it wisely is to truly live. Wasting time is often misunderstood as simply sitting idle and doing absolutely nothing, but in reality, it is much broader and more dangerous than that. A person can appear busy, occupied, and even exhausted at the end of the day, yet still have wasted precious hours without realizing it. This happens when the time we spend is not directed toward anything meaningful, productive, or beneficial to our personal growth, future goals, or overall well-being. In other words, being active is not the same as being effective. You can fill your entire day with activity, but if those activities do not contribute to your progress, learning, or happiness in a purposeful way, that time is essentially wasted. One of the biggest traps of modern life is the illusion of productivity. For example, spending hours scrolling through social media, watching endless videos, or engaging in gossip-filled conversations might feel entertaining in the moment, but it leaves nothing of lasting value behind. It's like pouring water into a bucket full of holes. No matter how much you fill it, it will never hold anything. Time wasted in these ways robs us of opportunities we could have used to improve ourselves, learn new skills, strengthen our relationships, or take action toward our dreams. Even tasks that feel important at the moment, such as constantly checking emails or making small, unnecessary adjustments to something already completed, can be forms of productive procrastination, where we keep ourselves busy just to avoid doing what truly matters. The danger of wasting time in this indirect way is that it often goes unnoticed. When we are outright lazy, we can at least recognize that we are not doing anything useful. But when we are caught in activities that feel busy yet bring no progress, we convince ourselves that we are being responsible while, in truth, we are letting time slip away without any meaningful outcome. This type of wasted time is especially harmful because it creates a false sense of accomplishment, making it harder to realize that we need to change our habits. Furthermore, wasting time does not always require doing something trivial or purely for entertainment. It can also mean doing something that belongs to someone else's priority list instead of your own. If you spend most of your day fulfilling other people's demands and never working on your personal goals, you may be busy but still unfulfilled. Time spent on the wrong priorities is time stolen from your own dreams. This is why it is so important to constantly reflect on whether our daily activities are aligned with the kind of life we want to build. In a world full of distractions, every wasted minute represents an opportunity that could have been used to advance, create, or improve something in our life. Whether it's 10 minutes lost to mindless scrolling or an entire day consumed by unimportant tasks, those moments are gone forever, and the results we could have achieved in them will never materialize. Recognizing that wasting time includes anything that doesn't move us closer to our goals is the first step toward protecting our hours and making sure our days are filled with value. Regret. Social media and procrastination have become two of the most powerful and subtle thieves of our time in the modern world. At first glance, they may appear harmless. After all, what's wrong with checking a few updates, watching a short video, or taking a small break before starting a task? But the danger lies in how quickly just a few minutes can turn into hours, and how easily these habits can eat away at the most productive parts of our day without us even realizing it. Both social media and procrastination are time-wasting traps, but they operate in slightly different ways. Social media distracts us with constant stimulation and novelty, while procrastination delays important action through avoidance and excuses. Social media platforms are specifically designed to capture and hold our attention. Every scroll, like a notification, is built to trigger dopamine in the brain, the chemical that makes us feel rewarded and keeps us coming back for more. This is why a quick check on your phone can easily turn into a 45-minute deep dive into videos, memes, or endless comment sections. And while we may convince ourselves that we are just relaxing or keeping up with the world, the truth is that we often consume far more content than we create, and far more entertainment than education. Hours that could have been spent learning a skill, building a project, or exercising for our health are instead consumed by endless scrolling, leaving us with nothing to show for the time we've lost. Procrastination, on the other hand, doesn't necessarily fill our time with useless activities. It often fills it with other tasks that feel easier or more pleasant than the ones we actually need to do. For example, instead of working on a major school assignment, we might decide to clean our desk first, check our emails, or look for inspiration. These small detours seem innocent, but they keep us from starting the important task, and the longer we delay, the heavier and more stressful it becomes. Procrastination feeds on fear, discomfort, or a lack of motivation, and it tricks us into thinking that waiting will somehow make the task easier. When in reality, the more we delay, the harder it becomes to finish on time and with quality. What makes both social media and procrastination so dangerous is that they are sneaky. Wasting time by sleeping all day is obvious. You know you've done nothing, but spending 3 hours in research, that's actually just browsing unrelated content or watching one more video before starting your work feels like a justifiable choice in the moment. This is why so many people lose countless hours without feeling guilty until deadlines arrive, opportunities pass, and regrets set in. The long-term effects are even more concerning. Regular overuse of social media can shorten attention spans, reduce deep thinking, and make it harder to focus on important work. Chronic procrastination can damage careers, academic success, and personal dreams because opportunities are oftentimes sensitive. If you wait too long to act, they disappear. Both habits create a cycle. Social media distracts you from important tasks, which leads to procrastination. Procrastination makes you feel guilty or anxious, which then pushes you back towards social media for comfort and escape. Breaking this loop requires conscious effort, discipline, and the willingness to prioritize action over distraction. Ultimately, the hours we spend procrastinating or scrolling online may feel small on a daily basis, but they add up in ways that can quietly drain years from our life. What could have been a book written, a language learned, a business started, or a healthier body achieved often gets replaced by moments of fleeting digital pleasure or comfortable avoidance. The question we must ask ourselves is simple. Do we want to consume life passively through a screen, or live it actively by using our time to create, grow, and achieve the goals that truly matter? Successful people are not always the ones who are the most intelligent, the most educated, or the most naturally gifted. They are often the ones who have mastered the art of valuing and managing their time effectively. While talent, resources, and luck can play a role in success, time management is the one factor that remains completely within a person's control. A person who knows how to organize their hours, eliminate distractions, and focus on priorities will almost always achieve more than someone with greater talent but poorer discipline. This is because success is not simply about how much potential you have, it is about how well you use the time available to you to turn that potential into real, measurable results. The people we admire, entrepreneurs, scientists, athletes, leaders, all understand the simple truth that time is their most valuable currency. They guard it fiercely, knowing that every wasted minute is a minute stolen from their progress. They plan their days in advance, setting clear goals and breaking them into smaller, manageable tasks. This gives them a sense of direction and prevents them from drifting aimlessly through the day. They are not immune to distractions or laziness. Rather, they have trained themselves to recognize when something is stealing their time and to cut it off before it turns into hours of lost productivity. One of the key differences between highly effective people and those who struggle is the ability to say no. Successful individuals know that not every request, opportunity, or task deserves their attention. They are selective about where they invest their energy, often refusing things that don't align with their goals, even if those things seem appealing in the short term. By doing this, they free themselves from being pulled in too many directions and ensure that their time is spent only on activities that move them closer to their vision. They also use tools and strategies to maximize productivity. Many keep strict schedules, use to-do lists, or apply time management techniques like the Pomodoro method, time blocking, or prioritizing tasks based on urgency and importance. These strategies help them avoid the trap of working endlessly without real progress. Instead of letting time control them, they control their time. Another habit successful people have is understanding their own peak productivity hours, the times of day when they have the most focus and energy. They schedule their most important tasks during these hours, ensuring that their best mental effort is directed toward their most significant work. In contrast, they save less important or routine tasks for lower energy times. This simple habit allows them to accomplish more in less time without burning themselves out. Even when they rest or take breaks, it is intentional. They understand that rest is not wasted time but a necessary investment in their health and long-term performance. However, they also know the fine line between taking a healthy break and falling into the trap of procrastination or idle distractions. By maintaining discipline, they ensure that breaks refresh them rather than derail their momentum. Ultimately, successful people treat their time as a non-renewable resource. They live with the awareness that every hour has a cost and they spend it wisely. They don't wait for the perfect moment to act. They start with what they have, where they are, and make the most of it. It is this respect for time, combined with consistent effort, that allows them to accomplish so much while others remain stuck in cycles of delay and wasted opportunities. The lesson is clear. Success is less about having the most time, and more about using the time you already have with purpose, discipline, and focus. Prioritizing tasks is one of the most powerful ways to avoid distractions and make sure your time is used effectively. In life, we are constantly surrounded by an endless stream of things we could do, messages to reply to, small chores to complete, entertainment to enjoy, people to meet, and opportunities to explore. But not all of these activities are equally important. Some bring us closer to our goals, while others simply keep us busy without creating any real progress. The ability to distinguish between what truly matters and what is merely noise is the foundation of time management, and it is the skill that allows us to focus our energy where it will have the greatest impact. When we fail to prioritize, we end up reacting to whatever comes at us instead of taking control of our day. This reactive approach means that urgent but unimportant things often push aside important but non-urgent goals. For example, we might spend hours answering every minor email or handling small interruptions while delaying the big project that could actually move our career forward. The danger is that these smaller tasks give the illusion of productivity. We feel busy, but at the end of the day, we realize that we haven't made significant progress on the things that matter most. This is why prioritization is essential. It ensures that your most valuable time and energy are spent on your highest value tasks rather than being scattered across low-impact activities. If you respect your time, others will respect it too. This is a truth that applies to both personal and professional life. People often treat our time the way we allow them to treat it. If we constantly make ourselves available for every small request, agree to commitments we do not truly have time for, or let others interrupt our work whenever they want, we send an unspoken message that our time is not valuable. Over time, this creates a pattern. People begin to assume that their priorities can always take precedence over ours, and they continue to make demands on our hours without considering the impact it has on us. On the other hand, when we set clear boundaries, communicate them politely but firmly, and stick to them, others begin to understand that our time is limited and must be respected. Self-respect plays a big role in this. If we ourselves do not value our time, we will unconsciously waste it, and others will follow our lead. Respecting our time means being intentional about how we use it, knowing what we want to achieve in a day, refusing to let trivial matters consume our most productive hours, and recognizing that time spent on meaningless activities is time stolen from the things we care about most. When people see that we treat our hours seriously, they become more mindful of how they interact with us. For example, if you are always ready to answer a message within seconds, people will expect you to do so, even if it interrupts your important work. But if you have a habit of responding only at certain times, they will naturally adjust to your schedule. Boundaries are not about being rude or unhelpful, they are about creating mutual respect. In professional environments, this can mean setting clear working hours, not accepting meetings without a defined purpose, and avoiding unnecessary interruptions. In personal life, it can mean politely declining invitations that conflict with your priorities or telling friends and family that you are unavailable during certain hours because you are focusing on a project, studying, or resting. The key is consistency. If you set a rule but break it whenever it's inconvenient, people will stop taking it seriously. Respecting your time also requires self-discipline. Sometimes the biggest violator of our time is not other people, but ourselves. We can't expect others to value our time if we are constantly late to meetings, missing deadlines, or wasting our own hours on distractions. When we show punctuality, organization, and commitment to our schedules, it sends a clear signal that our time, and by extension, theirs, matters. This mutual respect strengthens relationships because people appreciate reliability and professionalism. There is also a psychological aspect to this. When others see that you respect your own time, they subconsciously perceive you as someone who is serious, organized, and confident. This perception can open doors to better opportunities because people tend to offer important responsibilities and roles to those who demonstrate a strong sense of time management. Conversely, if you are seen as someone whose time can be wasted without consequence, you are more likely to be given unimportant or low-value tasks, both at work and in life. In relationships, respecting your time has another benefit. It teaches others to value their own time as well. When friends or colleagues see you managing your hours wisely, it often inspires them to do the same. This creates a culture where time is seen as precious and interactions become more purposeful, focused, and meaningful. Instead of long, aimless conversations that drain energy, people begin to prioritize discussions and activities that bring real value. Ultimately, respecting your time is about setting a standard for how you want to live and how you want to be treated. When you protect your hours, you not only create more space for the things that truly matter to you, but you also teach others, directly and indirectly, that your life, goals, and well-being deserve consideration. And once you establish that standard, you will find that both your productivity and the quality of your relationships improve dramatically, simply because everyone understands that your time, like theirs, is something that must never be taken for granted.